Welcome to Bunny's Designs. This is a live stream for ustream.tv and also recorded for YouTube. I'm going to be colouring in my Johanna's Christmas festive colouring book. I've been using the Hydrus, very vibrant Hydrus Dr. Martens liquid watercolours, but after organising my studio, I started to play with my Ink pencils again in a different way, scribbling them out. So they're very vibrant, so I thought I would have a bit of a play with those. So I've got them in my little book of watercolours, all 72, and they're all in the order that they are on all the charts if you look on the internet, because I like them that way, because all the reds are together, all the madder browns, the greens, the yellows, the oranges, the blues, purples. So I quite like them like this. In fact, they're actually not in order. I told fibs. I've got them in order in my little pencil organiser from Derwent. Never mind. So what I'm going to do is actually look for a strong colour and then get the pencil, because I found, especially with this one, which is dark aquamarine, which is this particular colour here, this pencil looks completely different. Oh no, it is that one. You see, it looks completely different. And you would think that would be black. Oh, very, very dark blue. In fact, you can get all these lovely colours from there. So I probably will be picking out certain colours from my book and then matching the colours with the pencil, because I can see what colours I want. Now if I use them from this paper palette, they would be paler. I wouldn't want to wet this and get a very vivid full-on solid colour. I'd use the pencil, but if you wanted some paler shades, there's about 10 shades from this one paper palette, and when they get a bit worn, I just re-scribble over them. There's a little bit of worn there. I can look for peacock blue, and I did have them all turned round, so we found peacock blue, which is 820, and I know that peacock blue 820 is that one, so I can just re-scribble over there, and that's completely saturated with colour again. Normally takes about 3 layers. There wasn't very much missing off this one. The violet one here, I don't know why they call it violet, because it's brown, but hey ho. We'll find that one, which is 108, which is this one, which is rather strange, but I think it's been because it's definitely not a violet, it's definitely a brown, so I think that might be a mistake. I'm pretty sure it is, but I know that if I want to match that with this, I can re-scribble over it. And when you start to see a few little bits of pencil, you know you've done enough. You know that if you carry on, all you're going to do is waste your pencil. And so that's now again fully saturated with colour. I think I did these not so long ago, actually. The blue, the Lagoon 810, I use a lot. So again, I do like this colour. It's a really lovely, vivid, probably like a French ultramarine. It's a really nice colour. It's a very dark blue. But when, of course, you see it on my paper palette, you have some beautiful pastel pale purples, purpley blue. So you get about 10 shades out of one of these, at least 10. So if you put all 72, which is there's 12 on each, there's 24 on each section, so you've got 3 sheets, which is a couple of millimeters thick, and you have 72 colours here. They're not the very vivid full-on colour, but they are enough to keep you going for a little while, colouring in especially. And if you realise that you have 10 shades on every one, that's 720 colours in 2 millimeters. So I call this my 21st century watercolour travel watercolour set. And they are the vibrant ones. And then if you have the beautiful Derwent pencils, again there's 72, so there's 3 double-sided sheets. Because I've got them on odd ones, there's actually 4 there, but again there's 72 here. So you've got from your deep Scarlet Lake to very pale. The lemons, again, very pale shades. The pinks, the rose madder, all the purples. Again, the indigos, Prussian blue, spectrum blue. All these gorgeous colours have 10 shades at least. So you have another 720 colours. So if you have your, and then you have your Caran d'Ache, near colour 2s. I think there's 100 Caran d'Ache near colour 2s. I didn't do a colour swatch for these because I used to use them quite flat. I might do them again and do a colour swatch actually. And they're very vibrant, and again, you know, 3 or 4 pages. The Gansai Tambi watercolours, little fat puddles of colour. Instead of taking an A4 size out, they're in there. That's not even a millimetre. Oh, there's another one there actually. 24 bottles of Hydrus are smeared across here, and I've left this on because there's tons and tons and tons of colour on these 2 pages, and I know it looks horrid, but you know, if you know where they are. And there was 1 drop of each colour, but there's tons of colour in there, and they're very vibrant as well. The Peerless little squares, there's 40 some, I think. Now they're a bit chunkier because they actually come in squares, so you've already got your squares, and then I've stuck them on another paper palette, and then I've made another colour swatch. So if you've got 40, it's 44, 45, I think there's 45 in the entire set. That's 450 colours, and that's just with Peerless. So you've got your vivid, you've got your normal colours. You can put your Graffy tint in, light wash, to do a pencil wash. That's fab. Kind of gone off on a rabbit dropping again. I've got the metallic. I've got some Faber-Castell crayons. They're really vibrant, they are. Again, there's at least 10 shades. I have Inktense blocks, but they get very bitty, so I wouldn't advise putting those in. This was a practice. And these are professional pastels, and they're very chalky. But it's still a colour. I can still colour with it. And there's all sorts of other ones I had in there that were a bit of a disaster. And then I put a couple of millimetres of that one in. Of the I'm losing my words today. Winsor & Newton. and there's some professional watercolors as well, and there's just the Cotman colors. But again, there's tons of color there, and then I've got a paper palette there. In fact, I've just realized I think I've sealed that. And I haven't put the plastic paper palette in there. That's annoying. Never mind. So I've got these colours. Quite like these colours. I should stop waffling. And if you didn't have a little book, you just want a piece of paper, piece of photocopy paper, and just have a bit of a practice. And so I quite like that one. So I'm going to just very gently, and I can't use pencils for blending, but I can just manage to just scratch the surface, just very carefully. So I can't kind of do precise nipping because my hands won't do that, but this pencil is just sitting there, and again I just managed to do this, and I've just kind of scratched a little bit of colour in here, and I'm only going halfway up because with a damp rigger I can create a nice watercolour effect. And again, just a little bit on the top. So that one is dark aquamarine. So I can actually have a look at that. And I did actually label mine because I had so many. I used to flick and get lost. So I've labelled the edges of mine. But mine is literally dropping to bits now. It's been everywhere. And it normally gets thrown in my handbag. It's the most precious thing I have, this little book. But I'm hoping Derwent are going to bring it out because they can actually put all their colours in. And they can mix other colours. They can mix these two colours together to get another different colour. So there's hundreds of variations that Derwent could put out in a little Derwent kind of little booklet. So you could add your own colours and buy them as and when. So that's the dark aquamarine, which is this kind of aquamarine colour. So I need the golden yellow looks quite nice. So I'm flick to 230. Now I'm not normally this precise, but because it's quite fun, it's a new way of working, I don't mind trying it for a little while. So I think the gold is down here. So I want a golden yellow. And the other thing is I have actually turned them so I can read what they are. I think my daughter's been in these, so she's turned them round again. And one thing I hadn't realised is they are not actually in the same order. I thought they were, but they're not. They're not in the same order, so that would make it a lot worse for me. Whereas if they were in the same order, I could just kind of flick through. So oh, there's mustard. So I'm not impressed with that. I thought they were all in the same order. I think probably, oopsie, I think probably I've changed that for some reason. So is that golden yellow? Yeah, I found it. It's with the yellows. I don't know why I didn't look with the yellows to start with, but there we go. And again, there's no point on that. So let me just see if I can. It's going to break my heart to do this, but yeah, I don't have a choice today. So I just quite fancy this colour. Because you still got to think about colour a little bit, you know, even though you But this is a gamble because you don't always know what you're going to get. Now you could wet the page, so you could kind of say, right, let me get a piece of paper. You could say, right, well, this is this colour, and not sure I like this idea, but it's better than the tin, than the beautiful wooden box. Every time I touch the wooden box, it clunks and it's heavy. So this is a little bit better. I can just flick this over. I think that one was... There's green aquamarine and there was dark aquamarine. I should have... So we could do this. And then take your paintbrush. And think, well, that's the colour I'm going to get for there. And that's the colour I'm going to get for there. And you can match them that way. I think that's a bit of a faff, really. So I like this way. I can actually see that, you know, that's one and that's the other one. So I'm going to take my paintbrush, and I'm using the number 3 Dale Rowney Rigger, and it's damp. So I'm going to just tease that yellow to life. And I'll actually zoom in a little bit, and then that could make it a little bit easier to see. Sorry, the puppy's coming in. He's looking at me, bless him. So I think we're in focus. Yeah. Nigel?
Yeah?
Could you possibly leave that, please? Thank you.
Sorry, what did you want?
Could you possibly leave the dishwasher, please, till after I'm recording? Thank you. Sometimes, see, normally everybody's at work when I'm recording, so again, I'm going to tease a little bit of dark down here and then take that to a very pale colour. So these are actually probably paler than I would have normally used in this book. So I should have taken my own advice and I should have photocopied it and had a play. Because this is a little bit pale, really. But these are unusual colours. These are colours that I probably wouldn't do, so it's okay. It's nice to play with colours. It's sometimes quite nice to play with colours. And the problem is the little dog wants to be in and out. And so it's... and I had thought about going into my other daughter's bedroom who moved away, but I would be stuck out of the way then, so... Right. So it's very, very pale colours, that. I'm not sure if I want those pale colours. So we do the red. I want a red and green. I think I'd like... that could be green with red and then gold swirls. So I want a kind of a nice vivid green. I want a nice green. So I think a beach green is quite Christmassy, or a field green. And I've used, I think Hooker's green is a traditional green. So we want Hooker's green. So I shall just have a quick flick and see. That's Hooker's green. And I'm going to have to be really naughty and do this. And I would have liked to have been so see how dark I can get this, because if you do this once you will get a certain colour. I'm just going to turn it slightly so I can get down to here. Always got to be fairly comfortable. Now what I normally do is put a couple of paper clips in this book. And again, that's so we've got some colour on there. Always want to kind of be around, away from yourself for your natural curve of your wrist, and if possible, because it just makes it a little bit easier to stay in the lines. So I'm going to practice what I preach. I am going to just see if I can just get up. Ow. And reach my paper clips. And I'm going to use 4 large paper clips. Now I have something else to spill. And what I do is I get a natural space so it's not going to damage the book too much. And clip them together. I want it to be flat, but I don't really want to damage the spine if I can help it. But this is, I can just keep twisting this. I can keep moving this around now. It's not going to go flat, is it? It's going to be naughty. The only other alternative is to take it out of the book. I don't really want to do that. But never mind. Right, the next red, I think I'm going to have either hot red or chili red is quite a nice Christmassy and poppy red. I think we'll have chili red. chili red here. So I'm just going to gently just stroke a little bit of colour into here. I'm doing flat colour because I want these to be vibrant. You know, these are Christmas baubles. And then I've got a bit of a, you can actually mix them. I've got some hydrus, not hydrus, some Gansai Tambi watercolour, and there's a gold and a bronze and a silver. And I think they'd be quite nice to fill out some of these sections instead of using stickles. So we can be a bit more adventurous and start mixing our media, our watercolour medium in here. And then we need a golden top, I think. So I'm going to put my little chili colour back. And just activate that colour with a damp rigger. It seems to be quite a nice size. It holds enough water to get round a space without having to go back. These colours are a little bit stronger than they're appearing on camera. You know, this is Hooker's green. It's a very vibrant green. And then we had the hot chili, I think it was. Probably a more traditional redder red would have been better than the chili red, but you know, it's different. It's something different. It's playing with colour. It's not a traditional red. Sorry, I apologise about the pat of tiny feet. I don't know which one it is. I presume it's Dexter. He's the Heinz 57 Terrier type thingy. But he's quite old now. He just puddles around. So the good thing about these is you can actually see where you've been. It's not most of the time. I'm using them as a nice flat colour. So we have our second bauble. And I remember having these when I was a little girl. My mum having these colours. So we'll have a bit of a flick through to see what I want. I think we'll have a purple and orange one. I like the deep that one, but I think we're going to have a violet one. Violet's nice. So we'll look for our violet. Deep violet. And as I say, it's breaking my heart to do this, but I'm having to sharpen them. And I think I like that golden yellow again. I think I kind of like that one. So we'll have yellow, that's purple and that'll be purple, so this will be gold. Oh, a golden yellow. And let's see what that one does. Put that one back. Then we've got our deep purple. Now can I be bothered to go around all these, you have to say. And it's quite nice to turn this so you can keep within the lines. So again, it's quite a nice way of working. So I think there's a strange colour. Just trying to think what colour I want on there now. Maybe a bit of scarlet red would look quite good on there. I've got scarlet red. Is it scarlet purple? Oh, we could have a pink. No, we'll have a purple. Is it scarlet purple? Oh, it's called Scarlet Pink, but it doesn't look very pink to me. Don't like the sound of that. Doesn't do very good for your pencils. But I don't really have a choice because I just... some little tiny dots on that. And we may as well put that there as well. Don't want more than 3 colours really, I don't think. And I will put the deep violet on there as well. Now you could colour them all in first, and then you could colour them all in pencil first, and then kind of activate them with water. So I'm just going to tease. He's going to take the door down if I don't go let him in. So shut him in there. So I'm going to go over the top of that one there. I'll have to let the little boy in because he's going to cry if I don't. And I seem to have got some purple on there, so I'll just go into that a second and then activate that one. And if you've missed a tiny spot, you can reactivate it and jiggle it around a bit. So hi Suzanne, welcome to Bunny's Designs. It's a fairly peaceful day today. Well, say that, I shouldn't say that, should I? It should be a bit of a peaceful day today. So, I just thought I'd activate all these little spaces. And the minute you do this, you just see the difference between the pencil and activating it with water. But I love these pencils, and I'd forgotten about them being, especially like the Derwent watercolour pencils. I had forgotten that they are, in the first form, a pencil, because I'm just so used to using them out of my little book. I don't normally use pencils, so I so again, I quite enjoy working like this. It's quite nice. And because you want a fairly bright, intense colour, you don't need to be so conscious about watercolouring effect. You can just kind of just colour in, so it's quite nice. And you've got some very vibrant colours. And they have almost the felt pen kind of feel. And, oh, sorry, look. And feel. This is like a little bit like colouring in, you know. With one stroke, you're making a really nice deep colour. And I'm possibly going to put this into here. So I'm going to put some colour on here. From using it like a paper palette, just taking a little bit of colour. And you don't want much. Just need the tip to just pick up a bit of colour. So you can drop it into that space, just to get rid of that white. We have another bauble finished. So it's fairly quick as well. Hi Scooby, welcome to Bunny's Designs. Anyone else that's popping in? I'm working in the Johanna Basford Christmas Christmas book, and I'm using my Inktense pencils, but I'm using my little book as a guide, as a colour swatch guide, and I'm actually using the pencils directly onto the page just for a change. So I had the blue lagoon is quite nice. Was it the blue lagoon? I think peacock blue is quite a nice one, so I'm going to put peacock blue. And I'm being very naughty. I'm sharpening them in this Faber-Castell. I'm using them in. Does not sound well. I think it's possibly because it's kind of full, probably. It might be actually full. So I have another one. I keep buying these and forgetting and buying another one. Apologies. I'm pretty sure my knees today, because I was walking about yesterday. This is a Derwent one. So I use the Derwent one. I shouldn't really be using those, but it seems to be okay. So I'm going to just very gently, I'm using peacock blue, very gently just scribbling colour into here. I don't really want kind of too much. And I don't really have the fingers to kind of really give it a very deep dark coating. I just want a little bit of colour, which I should get because they're Inktense. So I'm just kind of giving it a universal flat colour covering. So I keep thinking it's Sunday because hubby's home and my daughter's home as well. So I just feel it's a Saturday or a Sunday. So it's a strange day today. think I'll do this top as well. I think I'll do this blue and silver. Because I do have a silver. I think so. It isn't a holiday, no, no, Suzanne. It's just oh, thank you, Scooby. Thank you. It's just Hubby's taken today off. He works part time, so he's taken today off. I quite fancy an orange actually, tangerine. I think might look quite nice. So because he's done that, it's just thrown my day. And my daughter is at college 2 days a week. But of course, last week she went to stay. It can't be a week ago. Yes, it is. She went to stay with her sister, who's at uni. So it's just a funny day today. It's just a funny day. So this is tangerine. So this could be quite vibrant. This looks a bit different, and I'll just probably put probably a bit of orange on that one. There. So I'm using my Storm number 3 rigger, Taylor Rani rigger. Seems to be working quite well with the small spaces. Just touching that into there. I keep forgetting to look at chat, so you have to forgive me. Just waffling on. Again, this is another quite way to work. You do have to pick the pencils up and put them down, and it's not my ideal thing, but I'd forgotten about using pencils like this, and because they'd been tucked away, I thought I'd better use them. So again, you can see the difference. These colours aren't. See if I can just play with the colour a little bit. See if I can go to the purple one. That's probably the right colours. That looks a little bit better, so you can see that's very pale, and that's kind of now quite vivid. And you're just stroking water in. So again, you can, if you hadn't quite managed to get with the pencil where you wanted, you do have a little bit of orange on there now. So you turn it so it's comfortable for you. And make that quite a nice flat colour. It really does bring them to life. course, it's a lot more intense colour. This is the flat pencil colour that you don't always get in a big space when you use my little book of watercolours, because you can't. You'll use your whole paper palette up straight away if you did. But if you wanted to, you'd just make a whole page of this one colour, but there'd be no reason to. You might as well just use the pencil. My little book of watercolours is to use the 10 shades from this up backwards to make another use of this pencil, to make sure that you can use all those gorgeous colours and shades from this one pencil. And it is fairly quick. Now you could do what I did with the Colin Thompson one with the watercolour pencils. You could colour the whole page with pencil, and then you could spend an hour probably doing that, and then you could spend the next day or the next session just using your paintbrush and painting. So those colours are quite vibrant. It's a little bit of a purpley blue. It's probably a French ultramarine blue, that, but the other purples have come out, so they are quite vibrant colours. So I'll have a look at some more. Oh dear, excuse me. I think I'm going to do I think I'm going to take that one again. I think I'm going to do this again because it needs to be a bit darker. So it's dried. So I wanted it to be a bit more vibrant. So I'm just going to go over it and see what happens. In theory, nothing's going to happen. It's just going to behave exactly the same. But I think this page, these baubles need to be quite vibrant. And little circular motions are quite nice. For goodness sake, dogs. The problem is he can't hear himself bark, so he's got no idea how annoying he is. So, a little man's just come back too, and all the doors are open. So we'll just have to... Alfie, come in here then. Good boy. So we'll just reactivate this one now. This is more like the lovely deep colour that I wanted. It's quite a nice way to work. Just concentrating on not going over the lines and just getting a nice flat, vivid colour. They're actually quite nice to work with, these pencils. And there's a lot of colour, there's a lot of pigment. So, but they're in a pencil form. Instead of having to activate them into a watercolour and then kind of just wash through. Alfie, can you come here, please? Alfie, what's this? Alfie, come here. Good boy. Come on. Come on. Alfie. No, I don't exist when my daughter's. I just don't, do I? I don't exist, do I? No. When my daughter's home, I don't exist. So we've got 2 more bubbles to do. And so we've got some greens and yellows, reds and greens. So we'll have some pinks and purples, I think. And so we've got a thistle colour, which looks quite nice. A thistle colour, which I don't think it's at this side. So it's quite a good pencil sharpener, is this one. It's taking, the Derwent one, it's taking 4 turns to get a point, so it's not too bad. He's in the doghouse a little bit. We have another purple one there. I might put the pink one here and a yellow one there. So I'm going to do this, turn this round. He's just opened the door. Bless his little socks. So this is called Thistle. And again, I'm just stroking colour in. Not sure how my hands are going to cope with this, but we're just... It's not a very large page, so... I think I'll do this bit thistle as well. You don't really need to go up in every direction, because when you have your paintbrush you can do that. So again, that's quite nice. You're just trying to get a basic amount of colour on there so you can manipulate it where you want it later. So I think I'm going to go in here as well. I may have to get a point for this. I've broken my heart for this, but I have to do it. So again, just the tiniest amount is going to give a very vivid colour. So we can activate this and see what happens. No, he's sitting by the stairs. Suzanne's not going to come and say hi. I'll just finish this particular bauble, and then this is a gorgeous colour. It's like a bright. It's a dusky pink, but it's a bright pink, if that makes sense. But it's not a Barbie pink. So I'll just tease that colour, and it's looking a bit red, but it is a pink. It's a thistle colour, as in the name. So that was quite nice, but I think I want something with that. I think I'm going to do some yellows and gold. I'm going to leave that for a minute because I don't know what colour to do that. There's a Sicilian yellow which looks quite nice. I don't know why I keep flipping the top. I do apologise. So, we'll have a look with this. Oh, maybe that would go with pink, which is Sicilian yellow. Oh, that's that one. So it's a little bit dark, is that actually? That probably would look quite nice. Oh, I'm going to go with this one. There's an awful lot of trotting around going on. I think we could possibly have another colour in there. I think we could possibly have a little bit of that purple in there, because that's quite a nice purple. Oh, I don't know. What's fuchsia? Where did I use fuchsia? Have a look at fuchsia. Let me have a little look. Oh, the dark purple looks quite nice. I think we'll have dark purple. Turn that over. Our dark purple. Hopefully, if I use all the colours, by the time I finish, they'll all be sharpened. I'm quite impressed with that pencil sharpener, I have to say. Somebody that didn't use them, I'm quite impressed. I don't think we want more than 3 colours. What are you doing? Come here. He's sitting by the door upstairs. He wants to go upstairs. And the other one's just wandering around aimlessly. Yeah, my hands don't really like all this kind of... I don't really like all this, I have to say. But you don't use a lot of colour, so that's actually quite good. So I need my 10-0 now, because this is a bit of a fine space here. Just to activate that really dark, deep purple. Oh, now this is the one that splits. So that's not good. It looks like it's going to behave itself. I do tend to buy 3 or 4 of this particular brush. It's my fave one for all types of watercolouring, is the 010. Trying to get a lot of colour on there so I can do these spots, but I'll show you a trick in a second. So we could do with a little bit of dark colour for these. It's not really transferring to the paintbrush. Oops, sorry, my daughter's in a bedroom. This is an old cottage and every noise appears. So I do apologise. So I quite like those colours. So what we need to do now is take the said, I don't know which one it was it dark purple, and not damage the point at all, and I'm just going to touch the end, and that's going to give me I used to use this like the Caran d'Ache. You've got the pure colour, but you've got it on the end of the paintbrush instead of on the end of the pencil. I'm using the Derwent sharpener. I shouldn't be using it, I know, but I can't use little tiny ones, and I don't really want to sharpen these on a recording really. So I'm using that one. So I'm going to do this one next, and it's doing very well. I have to say, I'm very impressed. But obviously, when I was taught 37 years ago how to sharpen pencils, pencil sharpeners weren't as good as they are now. So obviously these pencil experts have got their pencils together. There's a Sicilian gold that looks quite nice, and sun yellow, so I might have a look at sun yellow. So 5 turns, or 4, he's doing it, so that's okay. I can live with that. So I think we're going to have a yellow. I think we'll have a yellow and green. Right. So I am quite impressed with that, actually, for somebody that never uses paint. I am quite impressed with that. So I'm going to have I think I'm going to have Viridian green, because that looks quite interesting, that one. It's a vivid green, and the teal. What colour is the teal colour? So I quite like this green here, which is, sorry, vivid green. I can't read today. And there's mallard green. That might be nice. I might use the teal. The teal looked quite nice. Sorry, it's tea green, not teal. No, it isn't. It's tea. I've missed the L off. Dark aquamarine. We'll go with this colour. Yeah, 4 turns is quite good. So I think I might put some bright purple dots as well. I don't think you want more than 2 colours, but I think a splash of another colour. I'm sorry about the angle, but it's just a little bit easier for me. Just very carefully And you don't have to be so precise, because you can do the best precise bit with the edge of the paintbrush. So it's probably better to miss bits than it is to kind of overdo bits, if that makes sense, because you can always tease that colour where you want it. I think I'm just going to change that. I'm actually going to make that one yellow and make the bottom one teal. Actually, that's going to be a really nice colour, is that? So I've got possibly another job to do now, which is to add some yellow into here, because I've changed the colour now. So of course, although you've got 72 Inktense pencils, you've got thousands of combinations, whether you scribble on top or you scribble next to them. See, I much prefer that colour. So I have changed the colour. The only thing you've got to remember is, before you do anything else, get rid of that green from your pencil. Otherwise, the next time you want a beautiful bright yellow, you're going to have some green in there. So I can put that one away. So I'm quite enjoying myself. I'm having to get the pencils out and push them back in, so that's a bit of a pest. But at least I can read all of them and choose what I want. So yeah, it's okay. I can live with that. And then I'm having a bit of a look on here to see which purple I want in here. So this deep violet would look quite nice. Yep, so I'm going to go with mauve would be nice. No, I think we're going to go with deep violet, and I've already used that one. So it has a bit of a point to it anyway. So just want the tiniest bit in there. Sorry, he's trying to get comfortable, for goodness sake. And that should just give that a little bit of a kick. So I need that fine one, and I'm going to get this one needs cutting down to make a fine one, because it's split. So every time I wet it now, it splits. So that's seen better days, shall we say. So again, just teasing that green. So this green now is a make-believe one. It doesn't exist. But it's a gorgeous green. So probably like a hooker's green. It's quite vivid, but it is actually a more natural one. It isn't kind of what I call a fake green. So again, because we didn't go there, we can just tease that colour through without too much trouble. Oh, and I should have put a paper clip at the bottom of that. Just keep curling that page round. So I could have either swapped to the smaller brush and just gently. Now you couldn't do this vertically, you'd have to do this horizontally, because you would end up. I quite like that colour. And it was by accident. Oh, breakfast break. That sounds good. That sounds good. Now, I don't know if anybody else is streaming today, so You have to tell me. Because I'm a little bit like Ken Dodd. Once I get on, you can't get me off. I quite like that. And I made it up. So again, you can make colours up. So that's really important. You don't have to stick to the 72 colours. So I'll just stop this video because it's an hour, and then I'll just pan out a smidgen and we can see what's happened. So I've got a little pencil sharpener, my 2 brushes, and I'm working out of these Derwent. It's a Derwent bag, and you have with a binder ring in the center, and you clip these in. So I'm going to buy a few more, and I probably might put all my pencils in there. I think that'd be quite good. So I quite like those colours. They're quite bright and they're quite vibrant. Thanks everybody for watching on YouTube, and that's the end of part 1.